Coach, I'm going to ask you some questions here because I want to stab some things in the heart here because I don't believe some of the shit that's out there on you. When I go on Twitter and I go on my show and we reach some mass amount of people, and it bugs me when I hear this, that Tom Brady pushed you out of the head coaching position. And by the way, please be Bruce Arians when you hear shit like that.
Dude, if you know me, nobody pushing you anywhere. Tom and I have a great relationship. I mean, as a player coach, it was awesome. We laughed a lot about, he played for Bill for all those years, a defensive-minded head coach. And then, you got to see a different side of a head coach who was an offensive guy. And I love what Byron Leftwich did with Tom in the offense. And I got way too much credit. I didn't do anything. But it was a great on-the-field relationship and even better off-the-field relationship.
So, and before I bring Bruce Arians on here, I want to tell you, so Jimmy Johnson used to just go, God dang it, Sileo. I was one of his favorite players. God dang it, Sileo. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Finally, I said, God damn it, coach. Why are you on my ass so much? You know what he said to me? Son, worry when I ain't on your ass. I went like this. That thing rocked me back for I was like this. Sileo, worry when I don't have you in my radar, that's when you need to worry. And that's kind of Coach Bruce Arians is. He joins us now here on the National Football Show. Coach, does that kind of lay it out a little bit on who you are a little bit too, right?
All the way, brother. If I'm not cussing you out, I don't care enough about you.
That's right. Coach, how is it? Let me start. First off, congratulations on your transition. This to me here, and I'm part of the media that believes that this is something that you coveted because, Coach, your actions have dictated this. So I have to give you congratulations. But how long has this been in the works for you, and how long you wanted to have something like this for a coach like Todd Bowles?
Well, I can also say, Sills, when I took the job in Tampa, this was on my radar sooner or later. Didn't know when, but it was definitely on my radar that I wanted to first establish a program, get it rolling, get it winning, then hand it off to one of my guys.
Coach, did this happen right away after the season, or was this something that you and the Glazer family and Todd had been working on kind of as soon as the season ended?
No, Todd was kind of in the cold about it. This was something Jason Light and I, we had talked about. Obviously, when Tom retired, there was a little change of plans. I was not going to set Todd up with a different quarterback. But when Tom decided to come back, that made it easy. I was saying now the organization's in a great spot. He's got a great chance to win. I can step away and be an advisor. And it's something I always wanted to do. I wanted to be able to stay in the building and have the relationships, with the players and walk through the locker room and still cuss them out and everything else. But be on the sidelines when I wanted to be and watch somebody else do it that I really care about.
Coach, would you have stayed the head coach of the Bucs if Brady had stayed retired?
Yes, probably. Until I found a quarterback that I felt we could win with.
Coach, I'm going to ask you some questions here because I want to stab some things in the heart here because I don't believe some of the shit that's out there on you. When I go on Twitter and I go on my show and we reach some mass amount of people, and it bugs me when I hear this, that Tom Brady pushed you out of the head coaching position. And by the way, please be Bruce Arians when you hear shit like that.
Dude, if you know me, nobody pushing you anywhere. Tom and I have a great relationship. I mean, as a player coach, it was awesome. We laughed a lot about, he played for Bill for all those years, a defensive-minded head coach. And then, you got to see a different side of a head coach who was an offensive guy. And I love what Byron Leftwich did with Tom in the offense. And I got way too much credit. I didn't do anything. But it was a great on-the-field relationship and even better off-the-field relationship.
So, Coach, you said something yesterday, And I know how protective you are. And by the way, I talk all the time with Coach Johnson and Coach Wanstad and Butch. And I say this all the time. You should see how protective they are of their coaching staff, because they want those guys to elevate, get another job. And I'm not speaking for you here, but what I heard yesterday, what you said is that Brady got too much of the credit. And I'm assuming that you probably thought that you maybe got too much of the credit and that Byron didn't get enough credit because you want to see him eventually get a head coaching job. Is that how I'm reading it?
Oh, totally. You know, I think when Tom's your quarterback, and rightfully so, he deserves a ton of it because he's out there doing it. Somebody's got to put him in place, and Byron did it. Byron did an unbelievable job with that offense, mixing systems that Tom was comfortable with versus what we do and mixing them all together. I sat and watched, and people didn't give Byron enough credit because I think they thought I had too much of a hand in the offense. And, so I think he got real close in Jacksonville last year. He'll be a head coach real soon.
So, Coach, you're not going into meetings and doing this. We're not running this play. We're not running. Hey, I have to ask this shit because it aggravated me too, Coach. I couldn't wait to get you on. I mean, do you think, Coach, it was your style that maybe the media didn't understand? That, to me, I brought you on, Coach. When a coach is not on your shit and he's not in your ass, that's when you worry, man. That's when you're out the door in the NFL. And do you think the media doesn't understand that?
Oh, I don't think they have a clue, most of them. And, I had to really laugh at Rich's thing, where he got it from, man. I don't even have a red pen, but I never met with those guys like that. I would put in 5 or 6 ideas. If Byron put them in, he put them in. And I never took a damn thing out. If anybody took anything out, it'd be Tom, because we always meet on Fridays and Saturdays with the quarterback and say, scratch out every play you don't want. If you don't want it called, take it off, because we're not going to call a play you don't like just because we like it as coaches. Don't make any sense. If the quarterback doesn't either like it or understand it, you're wasting your time. And so that's the way it's always been for me for 20 years as working with quarterbacks.
So, Coach, I would say this to you, that, all the things that you have done, and look at all the people that you've worked with. Hell, you were coached by Bear Bryant going all the way back to the beginning with you here. I would say this: will you stay retired, or if another opportunity comes up to build again a coaching staff and maybe something else, or is this it now?
That's it. This is it for me, coaching. I got a dream job now. I got a great title. Don't know what I do, but I get to maintain an office in the building and be there when I want to be there, and whoever needs me, the owners, general manager, Todd, Byron, whoever it is, I'll be there for them. And I look forward to, we did a lot of draft work this year, probably more than I've ever done on the draft. So I'll get back next week and get with Jason and Todd a little bit and continue to, as we fill out the roster before the draft, which Jason does a great job. Best, he and Steve Keim are two of the best I've ever worked with. And we'll get all that done.
Coach, were you shocked it was Bowles, or did you have an influence on Bowles because of your relationship with all the years with Todd, or were you a little bit shocked that it wasn't Byron? Why wasn't it not Byron, and why was it Todd that got the Buck job?
Well, two things. I think experience of doing 2 jobs. Todd had been a head coach, called his defense. And the first time you do that, it's not easy. It was hard for me in Arizona, being the offensive coordinator and also being a head coach. But I had 12 games to practice in Indianapolis. You don't get that in the NFL, and when I was taking care of Chuck. And so I knew I could do it. Byron's turn's coming. And it was really, it was easy for me to name Todd.
Did you advise Byron not to take that Jacksonville job because there could be too many voices in the building?
No, not at all. I think I wanted it for him, and he wanted it. He had a great young quarterback. I think everything was set up for him there. It just didn't work out.
Coach, a couple more questions for you here. I know you got a brand new title. I'll talk about it here in a minute because I talked to some people in the Buck organization, and I'm like, so what's he doing again? And so I'll get to that. But, Coach, I have a job for you that I think that you'd be perfect on. Why don't you become the police officer for the Rooney Rule? Because your coaching staffs over the years are exactly what the NFL should be aspiring to do. When you're talking about elevating positions, you're talking about elevating coordinators, you're talking about having diversity in your coaching staffs. I'll flat out ask you, do you think the Rooney Rule works in the NFL?
I think it's getting better. I've been a proponent of what happened this year. That's how I got Byron started on an internship in Arizona. So
I hear you had to beg him.
I did, man, like for 3 years to get off the golf course, and because I knew he'd be a star. I begged Kelly Holcomb, and he was just too. He was coaching his kids too much, and there's certain guys. Drew Stanton's another one I've had that I'd be a hell of a coach and a coordinator real fast. But Byron was very, very special. We kept pushing the league to adopt this program of whether it's former players, but get young people in the offensive side of the football to start building that chain that Byron came from. And finally we did it.
What do you feel this time around? Because you're right. If you look at the coaches, I mean, even Coach Johnson started out 1-15. I mean, Mike Shanahan was horrible with the Raiders, ended up going on and winning 2 Super Bowls. I mean, a lot of Bill Belichick. I mean, you could say whatever you want about Cleveland, but Belichick in Cleveland, he learned his lesson, I think, how he handled the quarterback situation between Testaverde and Kosar. And when that same scenario came up, Coach, in New England, between Bledsoe and between Brady, he made the right choice that time. Is that the experience of what you're talking about, why you feel Todd's ready now? Because he's gone through a little bit of that?
Yeah, and you're not doing it. You're not going in and getting introduced to a different general manager. You already know how Jason thinks. You've worked with him in Arizona. You've worked with him here. You got a great staff. Everything's in place. You got a good football team. And so it should be totally easier for him just because of the unknown is not there. It's all known. And now you got to stay healthy and you got to win games. But the hard part is when you go in my first year in Arizona, getting to know Steve Keim, getting to know Jason Light, what they were, those guys seeing what we saw as a player, as coaches. And if your personnel staff and your coaching staff, if they're not working really well together, you're not going to win.
Coach, who had the most influence on you in your coaching career? Pittsburgh, taking over for Coach Pagano, doing what you did in Arizona, or what you did with Brady with the Buccaneers? Or is it just an overall hodgepodge of taking a little bit from here, there, and there, and then making your own music with it?
Yeah, it goes all the way back to being a wishbone quarterback, and
Virginia Tech.
The ideas of play action passes, full action, and then throwbacks, and things just keep adding over the years. Tom Moore had a great influence. Joe Pendry had a great influence on me, working for 2 great coordinators in the NFL, Jim Mora, Marty Schottenheimer, but probably Jimmy Sharp was the most influential guy. Was my head coach at Virginia Tech my last year, and he started me coaching, and then Coach Bryant, and just watching him handle people every single day was just a learning experience every single day.
Finally, Coach, you at Virginia Tech, you were Tiki and Rondé Barber's roommate when you were there at Virginia Tech. I know Rondé pretty well, and he said that Bruce and him were roommates, and I'm like, interesting. I go, were they the first interracial roommates? He goes, yes. And I went, huh. It started there, didn't it, Coach?
Oh, yeah, JB, their dad is a great human being, and we had a great time, man. I got married after my freshman year, but we started coaching together. We bought our folks' houses right next to each other, and the twins, we'd babysit Rondé when they take Tiki to the hospital all the time. And it was, man, we grew up together. So it was a great time.
Okay, I got to sneak one more in. What's this new job? What do you personnel or just kicking people in the ass? What is it? Are you the resident boot in Tampa?
I think it's like, okay, who you need to kick in the ass? Let me go and tell me who it is. If it's on the sales team, if it's on the coaching staff, it's on the players, whatever it is. I didn't like that senior part. That makes me feel old. But the senior football analyst is or advisor. It's a cool title. I just got to figure out what the hell it is.
Now it gives you a chance to have more martinis, though, right, at night.
Oh, I promise you, bro.
Coach, thank you so much for finding time for me, man. Have a great time, and I'll be watching. You know, I'm pulling for the Bucks all the time. Big Sil's an alum, so I'm there with you. Anytime you need me for anything, Coach, I'm there for you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Danny.
You got it, man. Bruce Arians, head football coach, formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hit the like button. Back in 3 minutes.